What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of YTD TV, and today we have a very special guest, Keanu, and I got your name right, so I'm very happy about that. So before we even get started into it, I just want to know, how are you? I like to do that in all of my interviews. I like to start it off very like, how are you? How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling real good. I've been just really in my mode of like working, and I have a lot of things. I'm going to New York actually tomorrow, so for a business trip. But it's a lot going on, so I've just been trying to really stay focused and everything. But I've been good. I've been good, honestly.
Okay, good. And also, I also tend to talk to the guests before we get on the camera, and we had a conversation about like you doing more podcasts. So first, I just want to thank you for joining me today on my podcast. But how have you been enjoying the podcast action so far?
So honestly, like, I've been really just enjoying the fact that most people have been really welcoming, and they've been really into my career as much as I am, and I really love to see that because, like, for me, it's a lot of, you have to look for support in the lanes that you can get it from. So really, I've just been appreciating the fact that people have been giving me the opportunities, and even though I have gotten a few no's and things like that, I appreciate the yeses that people have gave me, including you.
Dang, I'm glad that you talked about that. I'm finna get into that. So no's, a lot of the times we're humans, so when we get a no, some people take it differently than others, but recently I've been learning that no's are a good thing. I always like to say that redirection is God's protection, basically. So this ties into one of the other questions I have for you, but I also want to know, what is some advice that you would give to an artist on the rise that's getting like a lot of no's? And I feel like it's a real good question.
I feel like truly, if you're getting no's as an artist, you just have to not look at it as a negative, because it's honestly just a mindset thing. So if you look at the no as a negative, then you're gonna always have a negative look, and you're gonna have a negative approach to your career. But when you take the step to say, hey, this is a lane of opportunity to then work harder, it just gives you that, it should give you motivation. Because even with one of my other interviews, it was a no at first, and he offered me some feedback, and he told me, just like, you should build your career up and this and that and the third. And the way I came at him was just, I appreciate the feedback and I appreciate everything that you told me, and I can't wait to work with you in the future. And then the future came, and I ended up working with him. So it's really just, you gotta look at it as a door opportunity every time.
Timing is everything. I actually got a no today, y'all. That was something else, but I came back with another question about, well, maybe I can bring you on to my podcast or whatever kind of thing. But it wasn't like a harsh no. It was like, the podcast is like mainly for music artists, and I'm not a music artist. But speaking of music, how did you really get started into music?
Oh, so really, music just started, I was like 13, 14. The So Gone challenge, that was my thing. I had, my sister actually has a video of me in my room, I had the So Gone challenge, and I just really like the freestyle. I like to hear music and things like that. But to really start my career, my brother really started it, honestly. He reached out to me, he told me, hey, I have a studio, if you want to record, come through. I thought he was playing, I'm like, okay. But he like got me in there, and then that just made me, the first time you hear your voice on a track, it's a make or break. Right then and there, if this is the lane I want, or this is just something I'm just play with. But when I heard it, I was like, wow, I sound great. I look back at it now and I hear it, I'm like, man, that was trash. But like, now I look back at it as just like, he really catapulted my career, and he's been there every step of the way.
So do you think that falls under like perfecting your craft? Like, say you don't sound too good at first, but it's really about like shaping it up and really finding out what kind of stuff you like, because I don't know, I wasn't there, but like the beat, maybe that beat wasn't like kind of like the flow that you like, or that you sound good on.
That's exactly what it was, honestly. Like, the fact that I didn't know what I wanted, truly. I think it was a G Herbo type beat. And I remember actually it's his homeboy, like one of his close friends who was staying with him at the time. He actually told me, he was like, well, like, I ain't trying to say nothing bad or nothing, but like, it's a good song, but you kind of sound like G Herbo. I was like, I'm hurt. I'm like, dang, what you telling me I sound like another dude? But like, when I just feel like as I progress, it's been, like you said, perfecting the craft, working on, I don't look for perfection, but truly
Right.
just working at it the best that you can. And I just feel like I've more found, one, the flow that I like, the music that I like to create, and three, the message that I want to what's the word?
Perceive?
Not perceive, provide. There you
Provide.
go.
Okay, okay,
Provide.
okay.
And what I want the people to perceive about me as well.
Okay, true. Speaking of G Herbo, so I'm glad that you spoke about G Herbo because that ties into my next question. So, who are some artists in the game right now that not necessarily like, well, inspire is a good word to use, but like you look at them and you're like, I love what they're doing. I know a lot of people in my circle, when they look at other artists, they're like, it makes them want to go harder or whatever. Who are a few artists that you could say right now? I'm gonna say maybe like 3.
Okay, 3 artists. I would say so since I've been more in the rap scene, I've actually been like looking at people's career, really going through it. And one big inspiration I've seen is SCY Jim. He's a great dude. I feel like I've seen his progression in music. It really it's touching. Like I can see it and hear it in the music. It's actually a message behind it because from an outside perspective, you don't really see. You just rapper, signed to QC, Diamond Chain is cool. But I checked out some of his more of his music and I listened. I'm like, wow, he built it up too. He started in 2020. That's the first album I seen that he had. But he's a big inspiration to me right now. But to name 2 others, I'd say Wiz Havin. I like Wiz Havin more so for his. He got that beat hit. I like the way his beat be hitting. I like that, and it made me I gained some inspiration, and I see that type of flow and that's just it's smooth, and I like the way it vibe, and it's something I like to vibe with in the car. So that's number 2, and number 3 always J. Cole. Gotta put him. I should have put him 1, but J. Cole he's been my favorite forever.
Okay.
Like that's who I've been listening to. I know every project. Unreleased, all that, I know all of that, but he's been my inspiration truly for just knowing how to take your career and make it something, honestly, like, and make it affect the people rather than you're just making music for whatever purpose. You have a purpose behind your music, so he helped me really find that purpose.
I love that. Now, I love the fact that you mentioned people that you said that you be paying attention to their craft. I also wanted to get into this single that you just dropped. It's a single, right? Okay, 1350 featuring 350. Okay, now how did y'all come up with this song? I was very fond of the beat, and I'm glad that we was talking about beats early on in the interview because I was very fond of it. How did y'all come up with this piece?
Okay, so it first started with me just working on it, and that was one of those things of, it was a yes or no thing. I just reached out, honestly. It was like a cold call type of thing. I just DM'd him, and I was just hoping, that he gets back or whatever, because, I'm pretty early in my career, so sometimes you have to have an offering to somebody to then have them work with you. So it was a DM, and as soon as he reached back and he told me we can do it, I just got to working. Like, I wasn't working specifically for his feature. I wanted to work for a song that was good, and then I thought, okay, let me fit something that he can fit to. So I heard that beat, and it just was going, and every time it just was going, I said, this the beat. If he can't snap on this beat, I don't know what beat he can snap on. That's honestly what I thought. But really, I just put it together, and I like the way that the song was going, and yeah, I sent it over to him. He sent it back, and I was like, yeah, this it. I heard it. I've listened to it 300 times, 350 times if you may.
You're funny.
I listen to it a lot. Like, that's my song.
It's a good song. It's a good song. I also just wanted to get into, I'm trying to cover like a lot of things, but I wanted to get into how we even met. We met during homecoming for the homecoming Housing Step show. And I actually got to see you perform in front of a big crowd of people. And I wanted to know, how do you deal with stage fright? Because it really looked like you wasn't even, not like you wasn't paying attention to the crowd, because of course you vibing off the crowd, but maybe for somebody that's watching and wants to, that's something they want to work on. Like I was telling you earlier, I still be having a little fright, camera fright.
I hear you.
But how do you deal with stage fright?
So specifically for that performance, that was actually my first performance ever. So it was in front of, I think, 3,350 people. That was the
Gaither.
yeah, that was the Gaither, and that was the max occupancy. So I went in there, and honestly, it was like the nerves were kicking up because you were the host, you guys were transitioning it. We did do a practice run, but it was really scary. Like honestly, I went back to the bathroom like 3-4 times. Like I'm talking.
I didn't even know.
People weren't. No one noticed except the people that were like sitting kind of like over there. Maybe they could see me going back. Like I went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, I put water on my face and everything. Like I was like, I got to do this though. So one thing for me was, like I said, it's about your mindset. I just said like, this is what you've always wanted. Like since I was 15, 16, 17, I was like, I just want to perform, and it's like a big stage performance, not just what these other like venues can provide where you maybe it's more personal, maybe like 50, 100 people. I wanted something large, and I just went up there. I had my shades on. That might be the key. I don't know, but that
Izzy
might be
has
the
shades
key.
on too. Yeah.
Them shades, they really help. Like I was like, okay, I'm here now. I'm like, okay, I'm in this zone. I put the shades on. It's kind of like I was in a different universe, and yeah, it just really, it felt free flowing because I kind of like got into the music. I let the music be my bubble. I let the music be my comfort zone because I know I'm out of my comfort zone. But if I'm with my music, then I'm comfortable, if that makes sense. So it was kind of just, that was the only way that I kind of went with it, and then I just went, and everyone tells me, like, we couldn't tell that was your first performance. That was really good. Like, that was really good.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I look back on it now, actually. I look at my video, I'm like, that's not me. Like, truly, honest, it's crazy.
It feels
surreal.
unreal.
Like, yeah, like, truly, that's not me. But it is. Like,
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about, question. Would you believe me if I said that I had messed up when they brought out the teams, and I presented Izzy on stage. I was supposed to do the teams first and then bring Izzy out. Did you catch on in it?
I didn't catch anything.
Okay. Well,
it was smooth.
Right.
Smooth.
So I kind of wanted to say that to people that are watching too. Like, even if you think that, I think we try to make ourselves the people that are watching too much when really it's like we overthink. I'm a very bad overthinker, but I thought the whole crowd knew what had happened, and they literally didn't. They're just like, it's a show. So that kind of ties into stage fright too. If you think like that they're having harsh comments inside their head, I mean, some people are like that, but not the whole. That's gonna happen regardless, though.
Yeah.
That's like critique, feedback. That's gonna happen regardless. But like he said, he didn't even know. But that's
I didn't know that at all. But yeah, it was similar for me actually in the show. Like you said, some people are gonna critique and things like that, but 3,000 people, 5 people, 10 people critiquing, what's that is? That's a low percentage, you know?
It really is.
Like truthfully and honestly. So I had some people tell me like later, like, yeah, you had to breathe up there. I was like, man, I don't care. That's it. I don't need to breathe. I'm rapping, you know?
You did good. The stage presence was there, like the going to each side of the stage. Like they said, you would probably think that you have been doing it for a while, and that's really the goal. That's the key. But I just want to leave off with one last question, and basically I ask this in all my interviews, is a piece of advice that you would give for an upcoming artist that wants to do the same thing. And it could even be like while going to college and trying to pursue it at the same time. What are some takeaways that you've had so far? Because like we talked about, you are still relatively new. But yeah.
I'd say so. Like one thing I maybe even say to someone who's coming up the exact same route is really just, you are on this path for a reason, and you chose it for a reason. And that's kind of something I realized, is that, you chose music and that's your thing. If you really love it and truthfully are within it and it's your drive, then you are going to, it will take over your life and it will work out. And that's kind of what I've seen is I'm able to do this interview and I have time for it. If music wasn't my thing, I may not have time for this interview, or it would have to be changed around, or I wouldn't have an interview at all. So I just kind of see that music it will envelope you in a way, if that's truly what you believe in. And you have to be, like I said, comfortable in your music. You have to be strong and confident in your music, because with confidence comes growth. If you're not confident, no one's going to I can't believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. And that's one thing I had to really key in on is, hey, like, I felt uncomfortable at times singing my song out in public, or even like playing my song on my own speakers. It's like, this is your music. You want other people to be playing it, driving past. You want to be walking down the street and you hear your song, you're like, wait, what? That's me? So I had to really realize that you had to be confident and truthfully just let the music take over. Not take over 100%, but be within it and live it and breathe it, and you will just go beyond any measures you ever like expected. Like, and that's one thing I've always seen. Just every next step that I get is only because I'm confident enough to take that step. Like, I'm not scared to stay. Fear is staying in the same spot, truthfully, honestly. So when you're confident enough to, hey, let me step out to this promo page. Let me step out to this artist. Let me step out to this podcast. It goes back to the no's. You're gonna receive no's no matter what. Everyone's gonna give you a no, but when you're confident enough to keep on stepping, you keep stepping, keep your foot on their neck. You know what I mean? Truthfully, honestly, keep that foot on their neck, and you'll go like far, very far.
That was such a good piece of advice. Like, and I've been taking advice from people I interviewed too, but basically, like he was saying, you'll never find out if you never try. And step out of your comfort zone. Like the memes you be seeing, that they be like, all your blessings are literally outside of your comfort zone. And that makes sense. Like, literally, if like, say how I'm like still like this right now, and I'm going for something, like, it's that something I'm going for is not right here. I need to go out and get it. But I just want to thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. I really
thank
do.
You.
You're real great, Bree. I love it.
No, thank you so much. And we, like, now we're locked. We're locked. That's what I say to all my interviews. We locked now. But I'm gonna see you on my next episode, and